morning, students. Today, let us discuss inverse trigonometry functions. Very easy concept. And surely you will get two questions on. Just you can memorize the formulas. If you memorize the formulas, then very easily. So try to listen this concept. Today class is totally concept of your inverse trigonometry functions. Just listen the point, and if you understood the formulas, and just try to memorize the formulas and go to problems, very easily you will get two questions. Let us see first. Here first try to understand inverse trigonometry functions domain and the range of the domain and the range of inverse trigonometry functions. So when inverse sine function, it is clearly just to observation. Here there is one function is given f from close interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 to close interval minus 1 to 1 defined by f of x is equal to sine inverse of x, sine of x. If I consider this function, clearly this function is a bijective function because this function is a 1 function as well as onto function. Any function is bijective function means definitely it will be inverse function will exist. So similarly, for sin x also, this function also we can find out inverse function. So f inverse value is defined from minus 1 to 1 to close interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. Then defined by f inverse of x value is always equal to sine inverse of x. So this is called inverse sine function. So what is the domain of this function? When x value must be defined from minus 1 to plus 1. So very important point here. Sine inverse of x is defined when x value must be lies between minus 1 to plus 1. Sir, when x value is 2, if I consider sine inverse of x is defined, sir? Never. It never be defined. So previous also you know that when sin x value is greater than 1 means, is it defined? Never, sir. Because maximum value of sin x is what? 1 only. Similarly also here, sin inverse of x value is defined when sin inverse of x value is defined when x value must be lies between minus 1 to plus 1. And what is the range of sin inverse of x means? So it is always lies between close interval minus pi by 2 comma plus pi by 2. In the same manner, cos function also same thing. When f is defined from close interval 0 to pi to close interval minus 1 to 1, then what is our f of x value is cos x if we consider, then clearly this function is a bijective function. So what is our f inverse of this function? Inverse function is close interval minus 1 to 1 to close interval 0 to pi, f inverse of x value is always equal to cos inverse of x. But here also the same thing. Cos inverse of x value is defined when, sir? When x value must be lies between minus 1 to plus 1. But what is its range means? 0 to pi. In the same manner, if we consider tan inverse of tan function if we consider means the same thing here also. F is defined from minus open interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 to all real values defined by f of x is equal to tan inverse of x. Clearly this function is an bijective function. Then f inverse is defined from all real values to open interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. So f inverse of x value is always equal to this tan x. F inverse of x is equal to tan inverse of x. Very important point is tan inverse of x value is defined when, sir? When x is any real value. What is the domain of this value means? Minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. Minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. That is the domain. So the graph will be there like this. So basing upon this concept, just recollect some important properties of inverse trigonometry functions. So y is equal to sine inverse of x value is always equal to x when x belongs to minus 1 comma 1 and y belongs to minus 1 comma 1. Sir, how sir this is? So just I will explain one thing, remaining all conditions will be same. For example, if you consider f is defined from close interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 to close interval minus 1 comma 1 defined by f of x is equal to sin x. Clearly, this function is a bijective function. I'll define inverse function, that is close g is defined from close interval minus 1 to 1 minus pi by 2 comma plus pi by 2 if you take means defined by f of g of x is equal to sin inverse of x. Now, if I define f circle g means what is the condition? It is defined from minus 1 to 1 to close interval minus 1 to 1 defined by f of g of x is always equal to f of g of x value is always equal to f of g of x means it is nothing but f of g of x value. What is your g of x value? Sin inverse of x. Now f of x means what is the value here? Sin inverse of x only. This value is always equal to x. So that is why sin inverse of x value is always equal to x. Sin inverse of x value is always equal to x. But when it will be defined, sir, when x value must be lies between minus 1 to plus 1. If x is greater than 1 or x is less than minus 1, sin inverse of x value never be equal to x. Never be equal to x. So that is a condition. Similarly, cos inverse of x value is also equal to x. Tan inverse of tan x value is always equal to x when x is any real value. Similarly, cot inverse of x, cot inverse of x value. Similarly, cosecant inverse of x is equal to x, and secant inverse of x is equal to x. And clearly, these all functions are periodic functions. In the same manner, if we consider y is equal to sin inverse of sin x when x belongs to R and y belongs to close interval minus pi by 2 comma plus pi by 2, then what is the condition? See, this is also same condition. F is defined from close interval minus pi by 2 comma plus pi by 2 to close interval minus 1 to 1 defined by f of x is equal to sin x, and g is defined from close interval minus 1 to 1 to close interval minus pi by 2 comma plus pi by 2. G of x is equal to sin inverse of x. Now, if you find out g circle f means it is defined minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 to close interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. G of f of x value is always equal to x. Composition of an inverse function concept. G of f of x means that what is the value? Sin inverse of sin x is always equal to x. So it is always equal to x when x belongs to minus pi by 2 comma plus pi by 2. But very important is it is defined when x is any real values. Sin inverse of sin x value is defined when x value belongs to any real value. So that is why the condition here it is when x is lying between minus pi by 2 to minus pi by 2 to minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 if you take means sin inverse of sin x value is always equal to x on. When x is lying between pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2 means sin inverse of sin x value is always equal to pi minus x. When x is lying between minus 3 pi by 2 to minus pi by 2 means sin inverse of sin x value is always equal to minus of pi plus x value. It will come at the time of problems also we will discuss. So remember this condition here. Here this graph you have to remember, otherwise you have to write like this. You try to remember Sine inverse of sine x value is always equal to, when it is lying between minus 3 pi by 2 to x less than minus pi by 2 means, then this value is minus of pi plus x. When it is lying between minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 means, then this value is always equal to x. Pi by 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 3 pi by 2 means pi minus x. Derivation also is there, but please kindly remember these formulas. Without using these formulas also we can do. And this is a periodic function, and this period of this function is always equal to 2 pi. Always after 2 pi the same graph only will exist. See, after that again the same graph only. So the period is 2 pi. Period is 2 pi. In the same manner, cos function also. Y is equal to cos inverse of cos x. Y is equal to cos inverse of cos x value is given means the same condition here also. So when cos y is equal to cos inverse of cos x value, if we consider means when x value lies between minus 2 pi to plus 2 pi minus pi, then this value is always equal to x plus 2 pi. When x is lying between minus pi to 0 means this is minus x. 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to pi means x. So kindly remember this, basing upon this model, definitely one question it will come. Very, very important. When it will equal to x means when x value lies between 0 to pi only. When x is greater than pi, when x is less than 0 pi means conditions will be. Kindly remember this graph of cos inverse of cos x value. Cos inverse of cos x value. In the same manner, y is equal to tan inverse of tan x value also graph will be like this. Tan inverse of tan x value is always equal to, where it is lying between minus 3 pi by 2 to minus pi by 2, then this value is always equal to x plus pi. Minus pi by 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to plus pi by 2 means x, and pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2 means then this value is x minus pi. Basing upon these three graphs, definitely one model question it will come. So kindly remember these formulas, and without using these formulas also we can find. Without using these formulas or graph, we can type, but it will take some time. Now let us see some basic condition. Cosecant inverse of x is always equal to sine inverse of 1 by x when x is less than or equal to minus 1 or x is greater than or equal to 1. Let us consider sine inverse of x is equal to 1 by x is equal to theta. Here x value must be less than or equal to minus 1 or x value is greater than or equal to 1. Because 1 by x value is must be lies between minus 1 to plus 1. If I apply sine on both sides means sine of sine inverse of 1 by x is always equal to sine theta. Here clearly minus 1 less than or equal to 1 by x less than or equal to 1. So then sine of sine inverse of x value is always equal to x only. So that is why 1 by x is equal to sine theta. If I do reciprocal means x is equal to cosecant theta. If you apply cosecant inverse on both sides means cosecant inverse of x is always equal to cosecant inverse of cosecant theta. So it is nothing but theta. Theta means what is the value? Sine inverse of 1 by x. So when it will be defined, when x value must be less than or equal to minus 1 or x is greater than or equal to 1. So in the same manner, secant inverse of x value is always equal to cos inverse of 1 by x when x value must be less than or equal to minus 1 or greater than or equal to 1. In cot inverse of x is equal to tan inverse of 1 by x when x is greater than 0, or pi plus tan inverse of 1 by x when x is less than 0. Just let us take when x is less than 0. When x is less than 0, let us imagine tan inverse of 1 by x is equal to theta. Here x is less than 0 means theta value must be lies between minus pi by 2 to 0. Because tan is negative only. Now if you apply tan on both sides means tan of tan inverse of x is equal to tan theta. So here 1 by x is less than 0. So then this value is nothing but 1 by x tan theta. So if you do reciprocal means cot theta is equal to x. But if you apply cot inverse on both sides means cot inverse of cot theta is equal to cot inverse of x. But you cannot write theta because cot inverse of cot theta is always equal to theta when theta value must be lies between 0 to pi. So that is why I am adding here. If we add pi means now pi by 2 less than theta plus pi less than pi. Now cot of pi plus theta means what is the value? Third quadrant. In third quadrant cot is always positive. So cot theta value we can rewrite as cot of pi plus theta is always equal to cot inverse of x. So pi plus theta is always equal to cot inverse of x. So that is why theta is always equal to cot inverse of x value is always equal to pi plus theta means what? Tan inverse of x only, tan inverse of 1 by x. So proof no need. Sir, proofs we have to remember, sir. No, proofs is not. But try to memorize that formulas. Conditions are very, very important here. Inverse trigonometry functions when you are revising means conditions are very, very important. If you are memorized, then it will be very, very easy. Next one is sin inverse of x plus cos inverse of x value is always equal to pi by 2 when x value must be lies between minus 1 to plus 1. Very, very important condition this is. So let sin inverse of x is equal to theta. Here condition is x lies between minus 1 to plus 1 means and theta is also must be lies between minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. Now I am applying sine on both sides. Sine of sin inverse of x is equal to sin theta. Now it is nothing but x is equal to sin theta. Now this is I am rewriting as cos of 90 minus theta. So if you apply cos inverse on both sides means cos inverse of x is always equal to cos inverse of pi by 2 minus theta. But keep in mind, can I write pi by 2 minus theta directly, sir? Never. Cos inverse of cos x value is equal to x when x value must be lies between 0 to pi 1. So then how, sir? See here minus pi by 2 less than or equal to theta less than or equal to pi by 2 means if you multiply with minus means minus theta is also lying between minus pi by 2 plus pi. If you add pi by 2 means 0 less than or equal to pi by 2 minus theta less than or equal to pi. So clearly pi by 2 minus theta is always lies between 0 to pi when theta is lying between minus 90 to plus 9. So that is why this value is always equal to cos inverse of x is always equal to pi by 2 minus theta. But theta means what? Sin inverse of x only. So sin inverse of x plus cos inverse of x value is always equal to pi by 2. In the same manner, tan inverse of x plus cot inverse of x is also equal to pi by 2 when x is any real value. Or secant inverse of x plus secant inverse of x is always equal to pi by 2 when x is less than or equal to minus 1 or x is greater than or equal to 1. This meaning is x less than or equal to minus 1 or x greater than or equal to 1. Remember this formulas now. Next one is tan inverse of x plus tan inverse of y is always equal to tan inverse of x plus y by 1 minus xy. These conditions are very, very important. When x is greater than 0, y is greater than 0 and xy value must be less than 1. If xy value is greater than 1 means then condition will be like this. Pi plus tan inverse of x plus y by 1 minus xy. Tan inverse of x minus tan inverse of y is equal to tan inverse of x minus y by 1 plus xy where x is greater than 0, and y is greater than 0, x into y is must be greater than minus 1. And third condition is tan inverse of x plus tan inverse of y plus tan inverse of z is. Generally, this is remember one S1 minus S3 by 1 minus of S2. This is one condition. Let us derivation is no need to derivation. Just remember tan inverse of x is equal to a. Here x is greater than 0, y is greater than x is greater than 0 means a value must be lies between 0 to pi by 2. So x value is always equal to tan a. Here tan inverse of y is equal to b. Here x is greater than 0 means 0 less than b less than pi by 2. So what is your y value? Tan b. So a is lies between 0 to pi by 2, b is also 0 to pi by 2 means 0 less than a plus b less than pi. So a plus b value must be lies between 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to pi. Now here consider tan of x plus y. Consider tan of x plus y means it is nothing but tan of a plus b. So tan of a plus b value if we consider means tan of a plus b value is always equal to tan a plus tan b by 1 minus tan a into tan b. 1 minus tan a into tan b. So it is nothing but x plus y by 1 minus xy. If you apply tan inverse on both sides means tan inverse of tan of a plus b is always equal to tan inverse of x plus y by 1 minus xy. But very important is tan inverse of tan x value is always equal to x when x value must be lies between 0 to y. So then how to define this? Here we have to consider here tan of a plus b value. Here x is positive, y is positive. Here xy is less than 1 it is given. Then 1 minus xy value is always greater than 0 only. 1 minus xy value is greater than 0 means this is always positive. It is always positive value. So 0 to pi means when tan function will be positive, then a plus b value must be lies between 0 to pi by 2. So clearly a plus b value must be lies between 0 to pi by 2 means then tan inverse of tan x value is always equal to x. So that is why a plus b value is always equal to tan inverse of x plus y by 1 minus xy. So a means what? Tan inverse of x plus tan inverse of y is always equal to tan inverse of x plus y by 1 minus xy. So always when you are using these formulas, we have to remember the conditions we have to remember. So directly we cannot apply. So that conditions if you remember means then it will be very easy. It will be very easy. Thank you.